So Donald Trump is posthumously awarding Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And I feel once again compelled to say, before I tell you what I'm about to tell you, that nothing justifies what happened to Charlie Kirk. It was a gesture of cowardice, of violence that has absolutely no place in political discourse or in a democratic society for that matter. But what we are talking about right now is the choice by the president to give Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom, because it's an award that's given to somebody that in some way has brought forward our American society. And it's not an award that's given to victims of political violence, because otherwise Melissa Hortman, the representative from Minnesota that was slain just a few months ago, would have received the same award. So it was given by the president to Charlie Kirk for what Charlie Kirk stood for. And I think as a society, we should be adult enough to separate the two events. We must condemn what happened to Charlie Kirk, and we can also condemn what Charlie Kirk stood for. And if we're able to do that, then we must wonder, is it fair for the president to give Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Honor? Does it represent the American values? Because let's remember that Charlie Kirk participated in an anti-Muslim conference. Let's remember that Charlie Kirk said that allowing different cultures to come into the United States is a destabilizing element. And in fact, he's the same Charlie Kirk that called the replacement theory not a theory, but a fact. Let's also remember that Charlie Kirk advocated to make gender-affirming care illegal in the United States because the Bible says so. So to him, lawmakers need to be driven by his interpretation of biblical values and not by the Constitution. And in fact, we're talking about the same Charlie Kirk that called transgender people an abomination. And I think we'd all be hard-pressed to look at ourselves in the mirror and say that those statements represent the best American values. And if we're not able to say that, but we're able to separate what happened to Charlie Kirk, which is absolutely abhorrent and unacceptable, but also what Charlie Kirk stood for, which is in some way also abhorrent, then I think we can all politely but firmly question whether giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom is the right choice or if it's just political propaganda.